Thank you.
Eddie, I'll start. Firstly, just your thoughts on the game and there to be won the last 5 minutes, just that one.
Yeah, we're all really disappointed, mate. We put a lot into that, but we just couldn't put enough pressure on the opposition. You know, every time we got in position to put pressure, we either gave the ball back or didn't defend hard enough. So there's a couple of things we need to fix, which we can fix with a lot of hard work. And if we're prepared to do the hard work, we'll get the fix. I'm sure the players will.
Discipline, one of the top of the list. I think it was a 14-11 penalty counts, a couple of those late, but just that up. It's a good territory.
Say that again, mate.
Is discipline on the top of the list there?
Well, I never look at it as discipline. To me, it's errors. You know, when you give the ball back as much as we did, you're putting pressure on yourself, and that's what we did.
Eddie, you said on Thursday that momentum doesn't last for 4 months. You're hoping that you can turn this around pretty quickly.
Yeah, no. 100% confident, mate. You know, at the moment it seems like we're miles away from where we need to be. But all this is going to make us harder and more hungry to get it right. You know, we're a team that needs to change. We know that. And that's the reason I'm here in the job, that it needs to change. We're not seeing the change in terms of results at the moment, but we'll see that.
The injury to Lenny Yukitau, firstly, can you give us an update on that? And secondly, very significant in the overall picture, obviously a 6-2 split, but secondly, not having that midfield coverage probably exposed a bit there defensively.
Yeah, well, it could have, but also created an opportunity for us to learn a bit more about ourselves. Yeah, it's a great experience for Carter to play 12, and at some stage in his career, he's going to play 12. So yeah, we're disappointed Lenny's injured. You know, he'll have all the scans that need to be had, but it certainly didn't look like a good sort of an injury. But we'll wait and see.
Eddie, what things pleased you tonight?
Well, we kept fighting, mate. Kept fighting. You know, it was one of those games where it was like it's sitting on the table and one team's going to grab it. And we thought we grabbed it, and then they grabbed it back, and we got beaten at the end. So that fight to stay in there, our set piece was good, mate. You know, so last week our set piece wasn't good. We were a bit like a broken car. You know, we used to, well, you might know when you'd had a Datsun 1200. You know, I remember my first car was a Datsun 1200. You know, and you'd fix the handbrake, and the next day the windscreen wipers would break. And we're a bit like that at the moment. You know, last week our set piece wasn't good. This week our set piece was good. Last week we didn't attack. This week we did attack, but our decision making around the ball was poor. So, yeah, this is a bit of a process we've got to go through, as painful as it is and as hard as it is, and it seems like where we want to be, you know, the team we are today is a long way from the team we want to be tomorrow. But, you know, we'll keep working on it and we'll get it right.
James, when you're on the field, got interviewed, you were pretty blunt. You said if you play like this at the World Cup, you won't go very far. What can you change, and what gives you belief that you can change things?
Oh, exactly what Eddie said. Minor changes in our game will take us a long way, but the biggest thing is we're going to have to work hard to get those changes. So we're understanding that we've got new coaches, we've got a new team. We just don't have the results now, but we're working hard on changing what we're doing. So in order to get those results when the big show's on later in the year, it's obviously tough. Like I probably spoke with a bit of emotion after the game, but it's always disappointing when you lose for your country.
Eddie, you spoke on Thursday about finding a Wallaby way to win. Were there glimpses of that tonight? Did you see anything that you made you think that is happening?
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Like in the first two games, we scored 2 super tries early in the game. and we move the ball with fluency and quickly, which is it's how we want to play. Yeah, we want to play with fluency and we want to move the ball quickly. But we're not able to sustain that at the moment. And I can give you a fantastic, plausible reason, but you're not going to believe it, so I'm not going to give it to you. So whilst it seems like it's doom and gloom at the moment, it's not. You know, beating inside here is a fair bit of optimism that we'll be able to change fairly quickly in the next couple of weeks. If I was the All Blacks, I'd look out.
Eddie, how did you feel about Mark's performance on the wing tonight?
Fantastic, mate.
And what impressed you the most about
Oh, he just lit the stadium up, mate. Every time he got the ball, you know, he lit the stadium up. Kids are jumping off the edge of the seat. He's that sort of player. Fantastic.
Eddie, be it what, if you call it discipline or errors, it seems to be something that this team struggles with. It happened last year as well.
Yeah.
Lots of cards,
Yeah.
lots of penalties,
Yeah.
piggyback penalties.
So we need to change, mate.
And how do you do that in a short period of time? Because it seems to be baked in at the minute.
Yeah, well, we can only do things that we can do. We have a certain amount of training. Maybe we're going to change the training week, but we need to create better habits.
Can habits be created in such a short period of time?
Well, we have to. We don't have any choice, mate.
Wallabies fans might feel a little bit despondent at the minute that the World Cup's around the corner.
I'm sure they will, mate.
Yeah. But you're not.
No.
Are you being optimistic because that's the role you need to play for the team?
Well, I'll tell you what, mate. There was probably no one more despondent than me. I probably ruined 3 radios in the coach's box. But I'm also realistic about, you know, there's a team that sits there, and sometimes what you're doing doesn't come out in performance, and it takes another game or one moment in a game. One moment in a game that changes the team. You know, and sometimes you're not sure when that's going to come, but if you keep working hard and keep working diligently and you work on the right things, you get that change. And the thing that really encouraged me is the diligence of the players. You know, they want to change, they want to be better, they want to be fine ambassadors for Australian rugby. But at the moment, it's just not happening, but it will.
You talked about maybe needing to change the decision makers around the ball. Does that mean potentially some selection changes for the next?
Well, everyone's a decision maker, mate.
Yeah.
Like, we probably, and I don't have the exact count, but we turned their ball over at least twice, and our support players around that then one ball weren't quick enough. That's what I'm talking about, decision making. I'm talking about the ball now is there, and people have got to make decisions around that ball quickly, and we're not good at that. But we just need to keep practicing. We can become good at it.
Last couple, please, Bill.
I'll let them go, mate.
Sure.
Fire away, boys. Because this
James,
might be the last chance you get to do this.
James, you've often shared optimism for 10 years. How do you think, and when do you think you can make those changes overnight?
How do I think I can make those changes?
For the side, yeah.
Oh, it just comes down to training, doesn't it? Buying into what we're trying to do, and the players definitely are buying in. You know, we've been preparing really well for these games. Just moments around certain areas of our game are just letting us down. You know, everyone's spoken about discipline or errors tonight, and that was a big part of the game. That really hurt us. One thing I know though, like, you know, in terms of, you know, the hard work that the staff, the players are putting in, like, we understand that's an issue for us, and we're working hard to rectify it. So, I'm confident, just as Eddie is, that we can do it.
You talk about moments, Eddie. Legislate the MCG against New Zealand. How can you harness that energy to just make that moment that can change this team and get you on the winning run? Actually?
Well, if I knew that, mate, I'd never lose a game. And unfortunately, even the best teams in the world at Test rugby bat at about 70%. So I can't give you an answer to that, mate.
Do you think people still underestimate Argentina, in the sense that we come here, not you, but the public sort of underestimate Argentina in the sense that think that there should be a gimme for Australia at home?
Well, I don't read the papers, mate, so I don't know what's being said. You'd have to ask your mates here. But certainly, you know, they're a respected rugby team. And you look at their World Cup record, you know, they've got a pretty good World Cup record.
Eddie, Australia's gone to number 8 from 7 in the rankings. How does that kind of sit with you, that feeling of being...
What do you reckon, mate? Doing handstands? No, obviously not happy. But, yeah, in a lot of ways, in this period, this isn't about rankings. It's about getting ready for the World Cup. Like, I've come here to get the team ready for the World Cup. You know, ideally we would have won every game we played, but that hasn't happened, and it mightn't happen. But we're getting the team ready for the World Cup.
And is it a bigger and harder job than you thought it might be?
Well, I'm certainly sleeping less. So I don't know whether it's any harder, mate. But it was always going to be difficult, mate. You know, if you're coming off a base where you've been consistently unsuccessful for a period of time, which, you know, the results show that, then you're not going to go and everything changes. And we're trying to change the team, and we're also trying to change the way we play. So we've sort of double whammied this, and I'm quite happy to accept that we're not where we should be. But I'm also quite happy to tell you that I think we're on the right track and we'll get there. Like, it would have been easy if I come in, take the team, pared everything back and played a really simple game, but that's not going to win us the World Cup. You know, we need to be able to play a number of different ways, and we need an attack that's unpredictable to the opposition, which at the moment is unpredictable to us too. So our attack's beating us and letting the opposition win, but we'll get that right.
No other injuries?
A lot of broken hearts, mate. So we might need a heart surgeon in there, you know one?
No.
Right. Well, if you do find one, let me know.
When you said we could keep asking questions because we might not get another chance, well, just a throwaway joke, or? No,
well, as I said, I think we're going to get a lot better, mate, a lot quickly, and something will happen. It might be, Richard Mwanga runs, offloads, we intercept, we take a try, and the whole team changes. Or it might be at the start of the game, we attack the first 3 phases and we have to work hard to score a try. It'll be something like that will happen, and the team will change, because that's all we are away from it. I know that's sort of a bit airy-fairy, but that's what happens to teams, mate. And it happens in life, you know. Yeah, there's always something that happens that changes the dynamics of the team. At the moment, we're a bit like here and there, and we do some things well, and then we do it, and then we give them the ball back. And it's just not there. It's just not happening at the moment, but it will.
On the same path that you've chosen to take, do you need to maybe change?
No, not at all, mate, because we've got to win the World Cup, mate. Got to win the World Cup. The only thing we've come here is to win the World Cup. So we've got to be able to play a game that gives us an opportunity to win the World Cup. And to do that, we have to change. Because if we try to copy other teams, which maybe has been the case, then we're not going to be good enough.